35 years later, a generation has passed. When "We" was first published, the Atlantic had not yet been spanned by an airplane. The survivors of World War I prayed and hoped for unity among nations and for the abolition of war. The Russian Revolution had taken the turn of permanence, but there was hope that man would be spared the anguish of being lost. World War II has come and gone, millions were killed, many hopes were drowned in blood, sweat, and tears. Today, the Russian colossus stands stronger and firmer than it did 35 years ago. But man as an individual, not just as a statistical datum, seems to have lost his value. This, the truth must be told, is true not only of Russia but also in some degree of many other nations. If one stops to think of all the secret persuaders and the variety of effective and efficient modes of so-called communications, liminal and subliminal, one is bound to find in "we" the prophetic, heart-rending picture and voice of the man who does not want to be stifled, but who wishes with all his heart and soul to stand erect and remain the master of his own fate in all the anguish and glory of his will to live as a person. A little more than 35 years ago, Mark Slonim, who contributes here some of his reminiscences of Zamyatin, and the translator, who now writes these lines, stood together in the dark of the night in a much bombarded street in Kiev. We had put to bed the last issue of a paper that made the Germans angry, and the communists more angry, and the Ukrainian separatists more impatient with us. Our time had run out, so to speak, so we shook hands and each went off into his own darkness and into the unknown. Here at the reissue of we meet again, not for the first time, of course. Slonim, an American college professor, myself, an American psychiatrist, both still keenly aware of the horrors through which our generation has gone. We are both hopeful that the spiritual vibrancy and insight that Zamyatin offered us in the midst of the Red Terror will serve now an inspiration to those who are still naive enough to love the humanity of man and who would stand up erect and fearless in the name of that humanity. Gregory Zilboorg, New York, 1959.